Today we're talking about decision making, which of course I get really light up on. Often we tend to make those decisions from a place that is not connected with our bodies. What's a decision that you've made that was not from a place of calm connectedness with yourself? How'd that decision go?
Oh, I don't know if this is the podcast for that, but the first one that comes to mind is our hotel that we just recently shut down.
Oh yeah. Tell them.
During all of this, I was listening to podcasts that were like 101, how to start a hotel.
How to start a hotel for dummies. ChatGPT, please tell me what's the strategy for a hotel. Yeah. Wouldn't you say, though, that the real reason it failed is because you and I were not aligned?
Yes.
Hey, welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. I'm Rocky, and you are listening to Heart and Head Work.
And I'm Tessa. Oh my God, you showed up. Thank you. Thanks for peeling out some time for just you.
Yeah, we're honored that you're here. It's always a pleasure that you tune in and you come back and you guys get to learn alongside of us. This is one of our favorite ways to learn. Today we're talking about decision making, which of course I get really light up on because I love making definitive strategic decisions. It's one of the things that really drives me. But often we tend to make those decisions from a place that is not connected with our bodies. And so they can be made out of emotion or some other places that make it feel more sticky rather than aligned. And we've got some cool tools for you today that we're going to go through in regards to how to do that, how to tap into your body, and then how to make really clear decisions. And it'll help you build self-trust, which is really important because we want you to feel empowered when you listen to this and feel like you have something tangible to do immediately after this episode. So we've been practicing the idea of meet the moment where we ask you guys to drop in, and it's a game changer. I know it's uncomfortable sometimes and kind of weird because you're probably doing something else. I know I do this when I'm listening to other podcasts. I'm doing laundry and dishes and playing with the dogs or taking a walk. But we have these moments where you can just be present with us because nothing is going to let us connect and learn more together than when we're in that moment. And Tessa is very good at this. So Tessa is going to help walk us through what that looks like and what that feels like.
It's just for a presence practice. So I want you to, in these, we're going to offer up a whole bunch of different ways as we walk through this, but take what works, leave the rest. This one is a simple box breath. So you can have eyes open. You can have eyes closed for this one. There's a lot going on in the world. So I use this one really quickly when I need to drop in, maybe before I walk into a meeting, or if I'm getting out of the car into a stressful doctor's appointment. I just had some skin cancer removed. Ew, I was so scared. And so I just did a couple moments of breath before I walked in the door. You ready?
I am ready. I love doing this. I think it is something I've not had enough practice of. And the more I do it, the more I feel in touch with like a conversation, or when I'm shopping, I'm actually aware of how my body feels. So I'm all in.
Okay, let's get ready. Settle in. Maybe eyes can be closed for this one, or soft gaze. See if you can get still. We're going to be inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts, and holding for 4 counts before we do the whole thing all over again. So here we go. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. And hold for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Come on back. How did that land for you? How'd it feel?
reminds me that I have a heartbeat and I'm so stressed out to do these podcasts. I'm like so nervous that I'm like, oh, there's the heartbeat. Okay, I'm back now. There we go.
It's nice, right? It's just a quick way to drop in. It's a quick way to find a little bit of a calm, but also notice that you're working with nervousness, right?
Yeah, that I don't have a Grinch heart the size of a penny. It's a bigger heart.
on.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice pounding heart. There's blood going through my body. I'm sweating. Like I realized I'm sweating heavily. I could feel the sweat drip down my armpits.
Do you know that you were in my meditation this morning on top of the mountain at sunrise? And I always ask on the beginning of the day when we are doing podcast days, like I would like to find clarity in my speech and be connected to you. And what came up was Rocky is like a Carmelo.
I love Carmelos. Continue.
I love Carmelos. She
Chocolatey.
is
Caramely.
really just really sweet and gushy.
No,
inside.
we don't want that
is
to be the
true.
narrative.
That is true.
I'm more like a malt ball.
You
Chocolate and crunchy.
more like an M&M, but really you're sweet and gushy, just like a little Carmelo, especially once you warm up.
I haven't compared you to candy, but when I think of you, I think of a Milky Way. You're vast. I got nothing else. Starry skies.
That's amazing. So this leads us into what we're talking about today, y'all. We're
Oh yeah,
talking about
get
aligning
into
from
it.
the heart and making decisions and eventually venturing
With intention.
with intention
Yeah.
beyond your decision.
This is why we do the meet the moment. This is why it's so important. I don't know if you guys are like me, where you come in and you're like, fuck yeah, I can do this. I got this figured out. No problem. And a lot of that is, the positive talk that I'm really good at and the confidence that I have to convince myself that sure, I can do anything. And that is technically true. But then you get behind the mic and the nerves start lifting up and you're trying to do all the things that you're told that you're supposed to do or whatever it might be for you when you show up at work. And these little moments to go like, oh, I have a heartbeat. Oh, I have breath. Oh, I'm inside myself again in a way where I can acknowledge where I am and what I'm feeling. This is where we want to make decisions from. It's not from a
spreadsheet.
It's not from a spreadsheet. It's also not always from the false confidence that we might be giving ourselves because we don't need it. We don't need the false confidence. I don't need to talk myself up. I actually need to drop in and I need to take a moment and go, how are you feeling? What's going on? And then those are all the places that I've made. Because you know this, right? Like what's a decision that you've made that was not from a place of calm connectedness with yourself? How'd that decision go?
Oh, I don't know if this is the podcast for that, but the first one that comes to mind is our hotel that we just recently shut down.
Oh yeah. Tell them, because I feel like the example, like I want an example to think about this because I have so many. It wasn't the hotel. I like to forget about the hotel.
I
Also
know.
false confidence.
Well, at the moment it felt so right, but it always, from the moment that decision got made until we decided to close down, was out of flow.
Explain what out of flow means.
Out of flow means it felt like I was pushing a goddamn boulder up the hill the entire time from the moment we started till the moment we finished. It never, ever felt in flow. It put us in a lot of conflict.
Mm-hmm.
It put our team in a place where they hated it. It put stress on us financially that we could have all done without. And I would say that when you asked me that question, that was the first thing that came to mind is I don't love to be working out of flow. I think it makes me really confused and it makes me question everything. And so the more I can be in flow, the more comfortable I am, the more confident I am, the easier I have getting along with people. I'm not as triggered as easy because when you're out of flow, everything feels hard. So, anything from sleep to a conversation not about the hotel with you could feel hard just because we had that underlying thing that's like, oh, if we don't talk about it, maybe it'll go away, but it was still always there. And maybe at the time it felt like that moment I could have felt aligned, but the moment after was not aligned. And so there was no return back to, does this actually make sense? Does this make sense for everyone involved, because that is something that felt hard the entire time.
I like that you brought this one up, because if I think about strategy, there's technically nothing strategically wrong with opening a hotel when tourism is booming in a city. Like from a market standpoint, you look at that and you go like, oh, that's a strategic decision. And we also have 100 small businesses within our neighborhood, and we were trying to cultivate tourism for them. Another strategic decision: bring the foot traffic, bring the visitors, make them experience local, support the small business microeconomy. And what we're talking about is there's nothing wrong with strategy, but how do you know it's the right strategy? How do you know it's the strategy that is most aligned with what you should be doing, so that it doesn't feel like a boulder getting pushed up a hill? Because that can so easily happen, even though it's a great idea or a great, the market's demanding it. So how do you play in that field? And this is where the heart and head work component comes in, where we need to ask about our alignment before we go into the how, what, and why of strategic decision making. And so for you guys, this is what we want to walk through today. When you're listening, this is that opportunity for you to go, oh yeah, the market is calling for something. My business is calling for something. There's an opportunity that's arising. I have this really important partnership I need to get to. Well, pause for a hot second and let's put in the important step. It's meeting the moment and aligning from within and figuring out, is that the thing for you to be doing? Not your business, not because someone else told you to. This is the internal lens, which I want you to talk about, Tessa. What are the tools? Because you're so good at this. You know, something told you maybe that the hotel was a good idea, but let's just throw out the hotel example and just go into like, when and how do you cultivate making that connection with yourself before you go into a business decision?
Yeah. But like, before we jump into that, just one final thought on that hard thing is, the reminder that you may have to go back to this over and over. So I think sometimes we think about, we make decisions and then it's done, right? And in this case, this particular example, there were many times that we got, like when we finally got back into alignment there, that just that reminder that you may meet the moment and you may align from the heart, and then you go off on what you're doing. But there are times that you've got to go back to see if it still makes sense. And that's the piece that I just wanted to tap in.
Totally.
Once we did that, it was like such a weight off our shoulders, and not pushing a boulder up a hill of like, oof, there was such a relief. So
yeah, because we just let the boulder roll down the hill and crash.
The boulder roll down the hill, and it's like,
we're done.
It's a sunk cost. Oh, for fuck's sakes. It's a lot of money, but whatever. Like, let's move on. Let's figure out how to do something else that's more exciting, and or focus on what we're already doing. When we talked about all of these big, hard lessons that we've had in our life, what were the repeatable factors that we came back to that really made sense? And one that really, really made sense after we found presence was this align from the heart. And that gets us moving from decisions out of here, I'm pointing to my head, and into here. And that doesn't mean that we don't take into account the strategy, the spreadsheets. It just means we take into account both of those things, but we move from here. I'm sweaty. Are you sweaty?
Oh, so sweaty.
Oh my gosh. So this came up on accident, actually, y'all. And here's the deal. We're still a little bit in this, so we're going to go through this, unpack it a bit with you, because I've been unpacking separately. Rocky's been unpacking separately. We've done some unpacking together, but not fully.
Clearly not enough, because we're both sitting here going,
so sweaty, so sweaty. So we're tapping back into this really big. Some may say, I mean, for a really good amount of time, I was like, it was a failure. Now I look at it as a very expensive lesson rather than a failure, because it got us to this next step.
Life. The most expensive lessons come from business, but they're really, really valuable lessons.
So we'll give you just like a little bit of context, because not all of you know this. Some of you do. People that were working closely with us know this. But we opened a hotel. And we,
yeah, I mean, just let that sink in actually for a second. Cause every time I say that very casually, people are like, wait, I'm sorry, what? I thought you were doing like spaces for rent. And I was like, yeah,
it is a space
a
for
hotel
rent.
is a space for rent. Duh. That's like the next logical step.
Yeah.
And they're like, but it's a hotel. Yeah. So it's 19 rooms. We had 19 rooms and we put it inside of one of our newest buildings. And we ran it through Airbnb, VRBO. We got a whole system around it
And
for
it was
direct.
so fucking cute.
I know you did a great
y'all.
job on the design.
They were in 1-bedroom not condos, apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we went after the extended stay model. So they didn't have, it was select service is what it's called in the hotel biz. And during all of this, I was listening to podcasts that were like 101, how to start a hotel.
How to start a hotel for dummies. Chat GPT, please tell me what's the strategy for a hotel. Yeah. I wasn't doing that because I was like, we're doing a what?
It was not our best align from within moment.
No, we did not communicate well on this. I'll take full responsibility for my failed communication on this.
There was a lot of confusion, I think, on both sides. And then, fine, we'll do it. Fine, we will be pissed about it.
You had this idea that you were like, we should open a hotel. And I have cabins. I'm in quote unquote the hospitality industry already. And I was like, yeah, I want a roadside motel like the Rosebud from Schitt's Creek. I do want to be in this world. I love creating spaces for people. And so I did kind of just blindly say yes. And then you ran with it, which is our old narrative.
Old patterns.
Yeah.
Trying to
of
break.
like, oh, okay, I don't want to kill your dreams. So I'm going to explore the idea with you. And then you're already 20 steps ahead. You're like, well, I've picked out the terrazzo tile and I've got which doors we're going to do in the building. And one of our challenge points is always, how do we move forward and co-create rather than, just move forward with one at the helm and the other one following along. Yeah, but anyway, I digress.
Like both of us are big drivers, right?
They're so surprised.
And I don't know if anyone of you all out there that are partners are experience that, but this is I am work married to one of the most efficient producers that also
walks the planet.
Walks the planet.
The entire world. Yeah.
This is so true. This is why I was so obsessed with her when I met her. But on the flip side, like I fucking love to build shit.
You're a bulldog with a bone, man. You don't let that bone go.
That's not the first time I've been called that for sure.
So anyway, we opened this hotel, not necessarily in a great place of alignment. And then it created a lot of chaos for us because operationally we love an experiment, but operationally we failed to plan great for it.
We didn't have extra staff. We didn't have extra money.
And we put a lot of money.
We didn't have really the tech set up properly on the front side.
But this is normal, right? Like you guys know this as small business owners. Like you just throw an idea out there and you just like start doing shit. Like, oh, we can figure it out. We can figure it out. But it's snowballed because it created a 24/7 business for a limited bandwidth. It was sucking money.
Small staff.
It took a really long time to get off the ground. And what else fucking terrible happened?
We also didn't know. I mean, we're not hotel people. You're an Airbnb person. Like you have a couple units, but it's very at small scale. We're not hotel people. So there's like, how do you handle linens? How do you all these things? So I was calling all my hotel people friends and making them come walk the space, and we're learning by fire.
Yeah, you're great at. And find the resources.
And it just was hard. We did it all with not the right resources, and I wouldn't even say that it crashed and burned. It sort of started to.
Wouldn't you say though that the real reason it failed is because you and I were not aligned?
Yes.
I mean, like we could blame it on like anything else, but the reality is like I didn't want a portion of that business in the way in which we moved forward and you wanted it. And we didn't come to a clear compromise before we birthed it. So
we had an unwanted child. Y'all.
I was just going to say that comparison. And then I was like, I can't say that out loud. I'm glad you said it. Yes. We did not decide that we both wanted to have this child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that just created resentment along the way. So anytime I wanted to talk about it when Rocky didn't want to talk about it, we basically ended up in a screaming match. It was a very hard year.
Yeah, it was the worst of times. I won't even quote Dickens. It was not the best of times.
You guys, the cool thing is that we're laughing about this because I've had so many tears. I don't want to know if you had tears.
No, I had anger, but yeah, they'll turn into tears at some point.
It was hard. And then at many points this past summer, there were moments of discussion, but also solo journeys. Mine were sometimes even drug induced. I did some mushroom meditation journeys trying to find the answer, which we'll talk about more in another time. But we just really were searching for each other, but also searching for some softness, like to return. And a great thing to do is to fucking let it go when it's not working. And it was really, for me, I've never let a business go. I've let projects go, but I've never shut down a business.
Yeah, like a few $100,000 too on top of it for furniture and, wasted space that we didn't get rented. And so yeah, monetarily, there's also, I want to call
therapy bills,
$500,000. Oh, you're throwing therapy bills in there. $500,000 and $175
an hour.
Okay, yeah,
every week.
Okay, fine. But yeah, we had this thing, and I would say that this is the reason it failed is because we were arguing about strategic things, but we were ignoring the core problem of alignment from how are you feeling about this? I think we tried to have those conversations. I probably derailed them more than you did because I'm over here going well, we need this to solve it. And we can do that, the doing and the productivity component of it rather than the drop in on Rocky feels as though you did not hear her when she said she didn't want a 24/7 business. And now she feels, here I am being the observer of my own feelings. Now she feels unheard and misunderstood. And those are the things that we needed as partners to spend time dropping into because we literally, this is 3 years, right? 2 years?
2
years we chased.
And we ran it for 18 months, but yeah, 6 months of getting it up and running.
Mm-hmm. And so we chased strategic questions and strategic answers and strategic conversations. And honestly, I think if we could rewind time, which we never can, it's fucking pointless anyway, so don't bother. But in the theoretical sense, if we could rewind time and do this differently, which I hope to God we do on any future projects so that we don't do this again, we would have said, oh, okay, so here's this idea. How are we feeling about it? Mm-hmm. And I recognize I needed more space to make a good decision
more
about
space.
how
that
I
was exactly
felt.
what I was going to say. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need to create. That's what you need to create. And those are big decisions. We're talking about opening a hotel, closing a hotel. But I'm talking about even in the little moments of I'm going to go have a conversation with an employee. I'm going to come talk to you about an idea that I have for, when you come and talk to me about murals now, we just create more and more and more space in that heart area. And that's where we end up making the strategy comes so easy. The decisions are so easy after that point.
If we can get out of scarcity and move from a place of abundance, which for me can only happen in my heart space, then the
surprise, it can only happen to all of us in our heart space, even though I like to pretend it happens in my head space, but it doesn't, which is why we do the meet the moments and align from within, because it's uncomfortable and it's not where we're taught to often do, particularly as analytical thinkers in an analytical world with all of the tech that's constantly promoting data, that we go oh, well, that has to have all the answers. Science has to have all the answers.
Yeah. But why I brought that up is because there was many moments throughout this project, but a few right at the end in particular that brought us back into alignment. The two of us, but also back into alignment from within for myself. And what I'm saying is yes, we kept chasing this because we were in so deep and we were fighting and all of that. But the brilliance of this is once we got in alignment, and whether or not that happened because we decided to let the hotel down or because you and I shifted back towards each other, we will never know.
It's probably us.
It's probably us.
I mean, let's be
yeah.
real.
And then we could decide easily. This was such an easy conversation once we finally decided to shut the hotel down. There was something interesting that happened, and I don't know if you could feel it, but for me, it was a very tangible shift. When we let go of the energy going I'm going to say the wrong direction. It's not the wrong direction. It just was a very uphill, like walking up a stream versus taking a raft down the stream. The flow started happening again in a really, really interesting way.
Yes, I do. I did.
Basically, as soon as we shut the hotel down and there was that shift back in, this is, I don't know, September, October, we started getting the Maven brand started snowballing, where we started getting attention. We've been doing this, y'all, for about almost 10 years. So, and we're like, we've been saying the same thing for 10 years, but I'm sure we're doing it better and like whatever. But we started getting attention that we had never got before. And in 1 month, we spoke 8 times, which was bananas. It was absolutely bananas and so fun and so exciting. And I bring that up because like once we got into the flow, because we were aligned, all of these other opportunities that were so much easier to walk through, these doors started opening where we could actually go through them without feeling like we're holding a huge backpack or pushing a boulder or walking up the stream. And for me, that was like, holy shit. For me, what you don't know is I almost just walked away from the whole thing. I was so in confusion about what to do that I felt like, wow, I almost lost it all because I was so misaligned. And finding that alignment allowed not only me to be in co-creation with Rocky, but also for our brand as a whole to just get this snowball that we haven't felt in a couple years for sure.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And it was just bonkers. It was like, what's going on? And it was fun. And it's just been so fun ever since.
Yeah. It's weird to admit out loud that
so there's the hope.
I was going to leave unless we closed the hotel because I couldn't handle the misalignment more than the pressure of a hotel. We can run any fucking business. I believe that. And you can always find a way to do it. But if you don't create the space where you're working in your genius zone or where you have the space to think about how you're feeling and what you're doing, you can't get anything good done. You're not making any impact. And I think the hotel was a barrier to our impact for years, not because it's a hotel, but because of us and the conflict that it created. And then you're right. It totally snowballed because I know exactly what moment you're talking about. And I also think that you and I'll speak for myself. I had a moment of, oh, she's willing to close the hotel. Great. I got what I want. Why doesn't this feel finished then? Because that wasn't the problem. It's never actually those problems. It was the conflict you and I had about me feeling misunderstood or me feeling left out of the vision or the end result of the business. And I know that we're talking about from a partnership standpoint, but if you think about yourself, there's your whole self, which is your second person that you are having these conversations with that often gets steamrolled and derailed because you're over here letting your head run the show. So use this as an example, not necessarily if you don't have a partner and you're a solopreneur, but use it as an opportunity to go, oh yeah, I'm fighting with myself. I'm in conflict with myself. I'm not thinking about what myself wants before what I give to the business. It's the same thing. It's kind of nice to have someone to verbally talk to and yell at because
sometimes,
or not, because it's not so much fun to actually get yelled at. But those voices in your head that are these pieces of yourself, that would be this benefit is you can have a conversation with them and come at it from the wholeness of you and the truth of what you feel rather than letting your business partner, quote unquote, your head steamroll you.
Yeah. I want to offer up some tools and then I want to get Rocky's opinion on what works for her and what she was doing during this time. Cause we were both living through this, right? Like I was, in my own space of, wow, I think maybe my time at Maven is done and maybe we're supposed to get out of here. So what do you do right? So those of you that are in that space right now, because we're fresh out of it, we can share what worked for us. And, I want you to go and try them and report back and see how did these land for you? Because in the beginning, what I have a tendency to do when I am trying to align from within, but find the answer for whatever is out there, I will go out and take a bunch of people out to coffee, lunch, hikes, whatever. And I'm looking for advice. And that is one of the first things I do. And I don't know why, because I should know better by now, but I will go out and take out mentors, take out people in the industry, take out, someone that's been through it, cry on the shoulder of a friend. And I do that, and I do that, I do that, I do that. And then I realize, like, I'm getting pieces and great advice along the way, but then I realize, like, why isn't any of this fully landing? And then I realize, like, oh, I'm just running away from myself. And I don't know if you do that at all, because you and I operate a lot differently, but sometimes that I am uncomfortable what's underneath. So I keep sharing and connecting and sharing and connecting.
Like
hoping, that feels so good.
Hoping you're going to find the answer elsewhere.
There. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that piece isn't important, because I do think, that connection piece is maybe for some of you a way to tap in, because it feels less scary than to go in by yourself. But at some point, you got to go into yourself, by yourself, for yourself.
It's fascinating when you say that, because, the instinct for somebody would be like, oh, well, I'm having connection with people, so it's heart work. But what you're actually doing is you're doing head work. You're out there trying to get validation, affirmation, confirmation from someone else's point of view to give you or anyone the guidance of where to go, because you're looking for the answer through, that's a strategy. Mm-hmm. You are collecting information. That is a strategy without doing what you said, which is sitting with yourself, which is the most uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable. Most. And I will start to notice that I'm filling up my open time in a way of, like, too many plans, or, too many, like, little, like, tasks lists. And I'm like, oh, wait, why aren't I going and spending time with myself? So my first, like, little tee up for you is, like, create some space for yourself. And what does that look like? It can look like a lot of different things. And I'm going to offer 3 to you, because these 3 are ones I rely on, like, pretty religiously, but I'm curious as to, if you have ones outside of this. But my first and most powerful and most favorite is a silent hike.
Yeah, you love those. I remember when they used to make me feel uncomfortable.
And now
I'm like, fuck yeah, everybody shut up. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Because I can hear myself, which is where I think you're probably going.
Yes. Yeah. A silent hike. And then when I get to the top, I sit down and listen to my breath, and I notice. I often keep my eyes open, because I think there's sometimes a lot of pressure in meditation to close your eyes. But if you're in nature, I think it's a beautiful way to notice the small details. There is a extra bonus for me if I do this at sunrise. It could be at sunset. Some people love this at sunset. I'm just a morning worker outer. That's where I get my most benefit. So I hike in the silence, get on top of a mountain where I can see a view. It can be a meadow. It doesn't have to be, a top of something if that's your preference. It can be water sources are great. Whatever is your favorite way to experience nature, but some movement and then some stillness.
Why the movement? Why does that seem important?
The movement it gets me, I think from like all the sciencey side, movement helps you move feelings without having to talk about them, which is really, really nice. It also helps you drop in your body and helps you connect to your breath. So when I get to the top of a mountain, one of the quickest ways for me to drop in is to sit down and manually try and slow my breath down.
So you're walking through the extremes, like you're getting your breath very tangibly.
My heart rate is higher.
You can be aware of it.
Yep.
And then you're now moving through the breath.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to get it to slow down. And for me, that is like, boom, especially if I had a sunrise, which I got to do this morning, is like an absolute quick way for me to be, oh, now I can hear what's inside. And there is a I would call, at this point, I probably would refer to it as a prayer, even though I used to be really kind of like anti that word based on like some religious stuff growing up that I didn't like that word for a lot of time. But now I do. I get to the top of the mountain, sit in my meditation, and then I ask, love, what would you have me know today? And I use the word love. I peeled this off from, oh my gosh, Eat, Pray, Love author. Why am I
Elizabeth
blanking?
Gilbert.
Elizabeth Gilbert does
Nailed
this
it.
practice.
Jeopardy. Who is Elizabeth Gilbert?
Who is? She does this practice, and I heard once her describe it, and I've been doing it for almost 2 years, and it absolutely has knocked my socks off. Because for me, love speaks to me in a different way than I speak to myself. Sometimes the way I speak to myself isn't kind. I don't know about you all, but for me, it's often critical. Oh my God, you should have known. What were you doing trying to enter an industry you don't know anything about? What were you doing taking that big of risk? What? Rah, rah, rah.
Ew.
I know. She's
Yeah,
not very
I
nice
don't
sometimes,
like that
right?
voice.
So, but love is, oh, darling.
Oh, darn. Oh, lovely.
Could you just know that every time you see the sunrise, know that it is never too late to start again? Might you just know that you can go to Rocky? She's ready for you to go to her. Might you just know that you are lovable? These are the tones in which she answers to me. So, and when I say a line from the heart or a line from within, this is basically, I don't know who love is. Is it my higher self? Is it some really rad angel that speaks to me in soft voices?
It's all of us, man. We're connected.
Are we all one? Yes. It doesn't actually matter. But I'm telling you, this is, so I'm going to say this is my first tool. Movement in nature is a plus. And then sit your butt down. And sometimes I will do this even in my gym. I will move inside when it's cold. And then at the end, I open my door and I sit on the cold concrete and I slow my breath down looking outside. And it might be 30 degrees and I might be in shorts and a sports bra. But movement and meditation.
When you can feel your body, you feel like you can hear the voice of love.
Yes.
Okay.
Now to this place where we are now aligned from within with the tools that we just talked about. And now we're ready to take that next step. We're ready to venture with intention. Sometimes for some people, that's, for me, actually, that's part of the hard part. I often can find that, okay, I know what's next.
I'm dropped in.
Now what?
Yeah.
How do we move forward from here?
Yeah. So for decision making, I have so many go-tos, but it's really hard to explain a lot of strategic stuff in short order, just the same way it is with the heart stuff. So I'm just going to give you guys one tool. And it's not even a tool I came up with, because the best part is there are hundreds of tools out there that are proven and practical and incredible. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can use all these great resources. And it's called the Eisenhower Matrix. And it's a decision-making tool that if you were just use this, like if we were just said, hey, let's open a hotel, and we never went into the heart space and we ran it through, it would work. It just wouldn't answer the deeper question that we answered before, which is this aligned for you in particular? So you can use it at any point in time, but we want you to use it after you do that heart work, because it's so much more impactful, because now you know where you want to go with it. So it's with intention, that moving forward strategically. So the Eisenhower Matrix, in very simple terms, is a quadrant. So I want you to imagine a horizontal line and a vertical line, and there's 4 boxes. And in those boxes, there's do, delegate, defer, and drop. If we step back just a little bit, the idea is that you have this thought, this task list, this idea, brainstorm, whatever it might be, and you want to categorize things into these 4 do next tasks. So it kind of helps you sort, like, what are your highest priorities? What are your lowest priorities? And the big way to do this is what we don't do great often is, as just people and humans, is we don't distinguish the difference between urgency and importance.
So how would you categorize these things, Rocky?
So urgent and important are the two things that create these 4 boxes. You can have something that's urgent and important. You can have something that's urgent and not important. You can have something that's important and urgent. And you can have something that is important and not urgent. And what these create are the roadmap of what you should do with it. We tend to be almost always in the it's urgent, but it's not important. And that is the fires, the ones that we chase as entrepreneurs. And that can be because like something arises from the outside that you just immediately attach to, and you're on productivity mode and you just freaking do it. And you don't think about it. You don't think about how it's going to move the needle. And so when you're doing this, like with a hotel, let's say that the first thing you need to do with what do you think is the most important thing to do with a hotel? What's important and urgent?
To get in alignment with your business partner.
Amen. Amen. Where did that end up for us?
It was not important and not urgent.
Yeah.
So it never got done.
We dropped it. That's the drop box, essentially. So yeah, we totally fucked that up, right? Not that we're blaming ourselves, but that's what happens. You don't necessarily think about one of those things and they just get like naturally dropped. But what about the hotel would you have loved to drop? Like what did we prioritize that could have been not important and not urgent?
We prioritized getting it open.
Yeah.
Not how. Like if I were to go back in time, I would have considered, why aren't we just bringing an operator in for this and not putting this on our team?
Yeah.
But instead we just were like, we got to get it open because we are often undercapitalized and, financially stressed.
Under bandwidth too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So our thought was just get her open, hurry up, without even pausing on how should we do this? Do we have the people to do this? Do we have the money to do this? Do we have the time to do this?
Yep.
We never asked those questions. And those would be urgent and important questions to have asked.
Because if it's really urgent and important, it's called a cornerstone priority and it will ripple affect everything else. And I know this isn't a business example, but I think it's the easiest way to think of it. If you're trying not to smoke, like stop being a smoker, you can't just not stop smoking. Mm-hmm. What you go to is you go to a cornerstone habit, which is health and exercise, and you start eating well or you start moving well, then smoking becomes something your body doesn't want and it will naturally fall away. If you can identify what's urgent and important, you will naturally find cornerstone impact and all the other things kind of disappear. All the tasks and fires that you think are there, they disappear. And what do you get out of that? You get less overwhelm. It's like the beauty of taking the space to figure out what you should truly be doing, what's going to move the needle forward. Mm-hmm. But it takes time and it takes practice. So like use it every day.
Thanks everybody for joining. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys for giving us an opportunity to do our most favorite thing in the world, which is work on this with you. We really appreciate it.